Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
It's the Chase! It's the Chase! Live 1 to 3, Monday through Friday on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Listen to Chase and his friends on WKGN. It's the Chase! It's the Scruffy City! Listen to his friends, and his friends are on WKGN. I'm always taking your calls on the Tennessee Vols. It's the Chase! It's the Chase! It's the Chase!
All right, Knoxville, the Chase is on. My name is Chase Thomas, joined alongside Ryan Shumpert of Rocky Top Insider right here on a beautiful Tuesday afternoon here in East Tennessee. Ryan Shumpert, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. As you know, battling a little bit of a cold, so it's a lot of resiliency, a lot of cough drops, a lot of it's real bad. So anybody watching on the stream, I got the handkerchief with me today. Had to take it to fall practice.
Well, I'm glad you remember the handkerchief today, because last night it was running through Kleenexes over the course of an hour-long podcast.
Well, if I'm at my apartment, it's just going to be Kleenexes.
And that's just a reality. You were also bullying me just before we got started here on this very program about my attire today. And the good folks on YouTube can't see, but I am wearing my Eddie Bauer hiking pants with my Merrell boots.
He looks like he just got out of the mountains this morning.
I'm a mountain guy. Went to the University of North Georgia in the mountains. I am a proponent of the mountains. Asheville is my wife and I's favorite getaway. That was where our honeymoon was in 2022. We're big mountain people, but I also take Khaleesi the dog to the dog park and various mountain trails, park trails all around here in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's just part of who I am. And I am an Eagle Scout, which you also I wear a Texas Forever Friday Night Light shirt today. And that, can a man have hobbies? Can a man just be who he wants to be and comfortable in his own skin? Have you ever worn Merrell boots? They're so cozy. This is a great attire. I feel great, and I don't need you going at me here right out of the gate here.
Well, let's make it clear. First, you were going after producer Brett.
I was not going after. It was an observation. I said he looked like he was about to go run a marathon, and he was in athleisure attire.
And I said you looked like you were about to go hiking right after.
Goodness gracious!
And somehow that turned into me attacking.
Well, it continued. It continued here.
Yeah, but other people joined in.
That's more of the issue. Yeah. It led on, and it turned into a full on. Let's really, really go after what Chase is rocking today. But I'm comfortable in my own skin. I am who I am.
Physically comfortable too.
I am physically comfortable as well. Well, don't forget, folks, you can watch us right here on Fan Run Sports on YouTube's live streaming from 1 to 3, Monday through Friday, right here on Fan Run Sports Radio and Fox Sports Knoxville 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. You can also watch us on X and Facebook. We're live there on the stream. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button and comment below and join the live chat there. If you want to watch this program, you can do so. You can also listen, and like I said, in all those ways, you can listen back on demand on the podcast app. And if you miss hour 1 or hour 2 today, you can do that here. You can also check us out on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts throughout the day for all of our shows, whether it's Talk Sports, Under Review, The Chase, The Drive, and Overtime in the Slate, which will be back tonight as well. And don't forget, folks, The Drive is at Matlock Tires today, so make sure you tap in for Russell and the Bear from 3 to 6 there. And Fan Run night at the Knoxville Smokies game tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. That will be a fun night for all of us, and I hope a lot of good folks and a lot of listeners for Fan Run come out to watch the Smokies with the Fan Run crew. So mark your calendars for that. That take place tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Covenant Health Park as well.
Blake Burke in town.
Say it again?
Blake Burke's in town.
Blake Burke is in town.
Yeah.
That's going to be fun. So that'll be fun, but not for the Knoxville Smokies. He will not be playing for the Knoxville Smokies.
Biloxi Shuckers.
There you go. Also here, Jay King, intern Jay. How are you, sir?
Doing great as always. Having some family come over to visit tonight and tomorrow, so that'll be fun.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we got intern Garrett Armbrust on the ones and twos, who did a great job co-hosting yesterday. Now over here on the other side of the glass. Garrett, how are you?
I'm good. Just ready for football to begin again. I guess preseason starts this Thursday now, so now we're getting football pretty much every week, and then college football will be here soon. So just excited to have something to watch again on TV at night.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a jam pack for you guys here on today's show. We've got Joseph LaMagna of Fried Egg Golf to talk about the upcoming Ryder Cup, the PGA Tour season as a whole, who's had good years, who's had down years. We'll talk to him at 1:20. We'll also talk to Terry McCormick, Titan Insider, on all things Tennessee Titans fall camp here, where Cam Ward is at right now, position battles to keep an eye on at the hour or at the 1 hour or segment 3 here in the first hour right here. So we will do all that in hour number 1, and then we'll jump into hour number 2. We'll talk about some college basketball news and nuggets with the NCAA men's tournament staying at 68 teams at least for another season. We'll talk about Sakai versus Gillespie. We'll get G6 Garrett in here to wrap up his Sun Belt preview on Troy. We'll talk about what happened to the Big Ten wins 3 straight national championships in the CFP, and we'll wrap up with Tennessee's safety and nickel depth here in this upcoming 2025 football season for the Tennessee Volunteers. So we got a jam-packed show for you guys. Thank you for making the Chase part of your day listen here on a Tuesday. Let's kick things off. The biggest news item where Ryan Shumpert saw it in person this morning on the practice field. Boot Carter, helmet back and practicing with the team. I saw he was fielding punts today. It was a welcome sight for Vol Nation all across this great country. But what did you see from Boot Carter, and what's the latest on Tennessee's starting star and punt returner?
Yeah, just what you said. He was out there practicing with the team, not working off to the side for the first time here during fall camp. I mean, he's been out there and he had his helmet with him the last couple of days. So there was a progression to this. So that was good. And then, I think it's kind of just the availability stuff. Mike Matthews back out there, William Satterwhite back out there. But Chris Brazel continues to not be out there. Josh Josephs continues to not be practicing while we're there. And then a new one today with Braylon Staley, who was not cited by us in the media during the open portions of practice. So, those are kind of the main notes.
Yeah, and it seems like that's just going to be what's happening, right? Like Brazel, we haven't seen it all, but Mike misses Sunday. He's back. Braylon practiced Sunday. He's gone. He's out today here on a Tuesday. It seems like they're just going to be extremely cautious, especially because of where Brazel's at. Like, you've got to really, really protect Mike and Braylon at this point, but you kind of wonder how much is that going to hurt chemistry, right? Like, these guys need reps with Joey Aguilar, Jake Merklinger, and George McIntyre, and if you're interchanging these guys in and out of the lineup here over the next couple of weeks, and it's like, I mean, this was part of the problem with Mike last year, right? Where Mike he had the hamstring thing lingering in fall camp. So he didn't have a full go to get acclimated and ready to go. I mean, this is an incredibly important time over the next month. And you just it's different with Joshua Josephs, as you pointed out. Like, we know what we have in Joshua Josephs. He's year 4. He's your starting Leo. He's one of the leaders on this team. Like, it's okay if he's in and out on a fall camp Tuesday. What just can't happen is, even with the numbers being what they are, you need Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley playing as many snaps with these quarterbacks as humanly possible before Syracuse on August 30th.
For sure. I think it would be that case even if Nico was still here. Those guys are incredibly unproven and combined to catch 10 passes last season. So they need to be out there. They need to be getting better every day. And again, I think, like you said, it's probably amplified by the fact that you have a quarterback battle right now, and you're trying to have those guys see who has better chemistry with who and build that chemistry. So, yeah, again, there's different ranges with these guys that are missing some time, whether it's, how big of a deal it is that they're missing time. And obviously Matthews back out there today, but Matthews, Staley, Satterwhite, I would put in that boat too. Those are guys that Tennessee needs to be out there every day.
What did Glenn Ellerby say today that fascinated you the most?
I think just the way, I'm not sure we see it matter this year, but the way he talked about Jesse Perry, how he does everything the right way. I think was notable. And then he continues to, he gives us plenty of fuel to continue the Lance Hurd fire for the belief that he's going to have a breakout year. Talked about how much different he's been both physically and mentally, kind of walking through and understanding some of the things they're doing much more at this time than a year ago. So those were probably the two things that stood out. And obviously Lance Hurd, I think, was the more important or more significant detail.
Yeah, the Lance Hurd part of it, Jeremiah Hurd, who we thought was going to be like a multi-year project, is running with the twos behind Lance. So it's the Hurds at left tackle potentially this year for Tennessee. And then at right tackle, you have Bennett Warren, former 4-star, behind 5-star David Sanders. And Glenn Ellerby also spoke glowingly about David Sanders as well. It's very interesting to see how this is all going to work at the tackle spot. But if you look at just the frames of those four, I mean, that is where you want to be at tackle in the SEC.
Yeah, I do wonder if Bennett Warren would be the left tackle too if Lance Hurd got hurt, because that feels like a big step for Jeremiah Hurd. But yeah, I mean, you talk about get off the bus. We'll see what he can actually be as a player. But man, he is a mountain of a man, and is the first guy you want getting off the bus, or if there's some sort of pregame brouhaha, he's the guy you want in the front of that.
No, it's just, I feel really good about the tackles. I feel really good about the offensive line. You can tell Glenn Ellerby is really excited about the offensive line. And Jesse Perry, I mean, also looks the part. Like, he's really taking it seriously, and he looks like someone who could absolutely slide in and be one of Tennessee's guards here as a multi-year starter. Like, that seems like the best path for him, but there's going to be competition there, which is what you want. Like, you have Shane Umarov battling with him at one of the guard spots. You have Sam Pendleton battling. You have, I mean, if Max Anderson doesn't win the center job, does he get a stronger look at offensive guard? Like, does he push for left or right? You have Wendell Moy moving between left and right between the first 2 weeks of practice. Where is the right fit for him? Because ultimately what Glenn Ellerby and the staff is trying to do right now is they're trying to find the best five. And is that it's Sam Pendleton at 5 and Jesse Perry and or Shane Umarov at right guard? Or is it William Satterwhite at center and Sam Pendleton at right guard? I mean, that's the cleaner best case scenario, I think, for Tennessee long term, but that also might not be the best case scenario for Tennessee in the short term. So Glenn Ellerby is in an interesting spot here over the next couple of weeks, and we'll learn a lot more about the scrimmage and how, because Satterwhite and Sam Pendleton are both going to get a strong look at center on Saturday and the team's first scrimmage here in fall camp. So that's it's kind of like a separation Saturday for a lot of guys, and probably the quarterbacks as well. But I mean, speaking of the quarterbacks, what did you see today between Jake, George, and Joey?
They were pretty crisp. Well, Jake and Joey were pretty crisp. George, I thought, had his worst day, at least since day one. It was red zone specific routes on there, so within the 5-yard line was what they were working on. And I think Joey was 9 for 9 and Jake was 9 for 10. Now, again, there's a couple balls. Jake threw a ball behind, I think it was Travis Smith, that Smith did a good job to go catch. Can't imagine that's going to be a catch if there's defenses out there. There was kind of another throw. It was a motion kind of get out in the flat type throw that was not a very good throw from Joey that Amari Jefferson caught. Might have still been a catch, but probably wouldn't have been a touchdown if there were defenders out there. So not that everybody was perfect, but definitely a lot crisper. Miles Kitselman, could have caught the one incompletion from Jake Merklinger, but I wouldn't have categorized it as a drop either. That ball was a little too far out ahead of him. So it was much crisper, and I think what you want to see from Tennessee is they start week 2.
When we come back, we'll be joined by Joseph LaMagna of Fried Egg Golf to talk all things PGA Tour, Ryder Cup, and a whole lot more with our resident golf aficionado who was on the links late last night, which, I mean, the man's a warrior. The man is getting in the time because it's going to get a little bit more complicated for Ryan Shempert during football season, basketball season, and this, that, and the other. So excited to talk to Joseph and pick his brain on all things golf. So stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Reel in a great catch with checking accounts at Citizens National Bank. You don't have to keep fishing around. CNB makes banking easy. Earn interest with rewards, or open a good life and enjoy travel opportunities. If a simple and straightforward account is important to you, CNB offers that too. Citizens National Bank's checking accounts are the catch of the day. Visit cnbtn.com. Member FDIC.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mike Costa at Knoxville Smiles. Here at Knoxville Smiles, we're all about making it easier for you to see the dentist. That's why we're now open until 7 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If going to the dentist in the morning or during normal business hours doesn't fit your busy schedule, come see us a little later. Call 865-539-1776 to schedule your appointment, or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
On Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. On the line right now, Joseph Lamagna of Fried Egg Golf, one of the best golf podcasts, websites. It's just a great all-around product. Joseph, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Chase. Thank you for having me. I was thinking about, while I have a Knoxville listeners, were there any grievances I wanted to air out with the Tennessee football team as a UT Austin grad, but I think I'll spare you that and we can keep it to golf today.
UT Austin, or is it Texas Austin?
I mean, I think it's just UT, right?
It doesn't sound right. I don't. It doesn't register on my just when I think UT, my mind doesn't go to that burnt orange. But that could just be me, and it could just be here in Tennessee rubbing off of me. But we won't hold that against you because UT Austin, a lot of big time golfers have come out of UT Austin. But we're going to talk about the Ryder Cup here and a whole lot more. We got a bunch of big-time golf fans and players here on today's show, so I appreciate you making part of your time here this afternoon to join us right here on The Chase. Joseph, I want to start off. Should Cameron Young be on the Ryder Cup team?
Wow, coming in with one of the hot-button issues. So I'll declare my bias up front. I'm a long-standing Cameron Young supporter.
Okay.
I think after this past win this past weekend, if things were to end today, he has a strong case. You got to look at Cameron Young's career as a whole. He's been an elite ball striker for basically the entirety of his career, one of the best drivers of the golf ball in professional golf. But he's always been held back by a bad putter. And then coming into 2025, he's been a good putter basically all year, made some off-season improvements. Beginning of this year, the ball striking wasn't there. And then over the last couple of months, we've seen the ball striking return to form, gets a win, also finished fourth at the U.S. Open. So as things stand right now, I think he has a pretty strong case. But he needs to prove it in the upcoming weeks of the FedEx Cup playoffs, which I expect him to based on that ball striking kind of coming back and the putting being solved this year. So we'll see what happens. If he doesn't play well in the playoffs, I'm not going to scream from the mountaintops that it would be a disgrace to leave him off the team. But I do believe he should have been on the team in 2023. And if he has a good couple weeks coming up here, then I believe he should be on the team in 2025.
Joseph, Ryan here. I just want to congratulate you, really. As those of us in sports media, you are really riding one of the best highs right now of a longstanding take being proven correct or having a momentum for it. So just first of all, can you explain to the people what that feeling is like as you're watching Cam Young this weekend battle it out and end up winning and getting a lot of vindication?
Well, I got to say, Ryan, I only ever hear about the stuff that I get wrong. So first off, I really appreciate you letting me victory lap one. It's infrequent, so we'll take these as major wins. It was a good feeling, but to be honest, not for myself. Like, I am genuinely really happy for Cameron Young. And he is a golfer who has always seemed to work his tail off and cares about winning. And I feel like part of what gets held against him, I think there's a perception that he doesn't have a ton of personality, but it's not like the guy's ever been pegged as a jerk or they're, embroiled in controversy. He just hasn't won, and that's sort of been held against him. But he's been a great player who's been working his tail off to get better. I was kind of overcome with emotion, to be honest, just watching him win, the culmination of a lot of hard work. So I appreciate you giving me the chance to make it about me, but I'm not going to take the bait on that one.
You're different than the two of us in the studio because we would make it about ourselves.
He's not wrong. What do you got for him, Garrett?
Hey, Joseph. Yeah, thanks for coming on. I got kind of two quick questions. So, obviously, we saw Jackson Coyven have another really good week at the Wyndham this past week. When you look ahead, maybe 4 or 5 years down the line, who do you see having a better career at that point, Luke Clanton or Jackson Coyven? Both guys kind of obviously getting a lot of reps on the tour as an amateur and seem like they have long careers ahead of them.
Yeah, it's a hard question. That's one that's been coming up recently because if you said this, I don't know, a year ago, nobody would have said Jackson Coyven over Luke Clanton. Despite Jackson Coyven being an excellent player, we were just watching Luke Clanton have a lot of success at the professional level, and he's been struggling with his putter recently. My short answer is I kind of group Luke Clanton, Jackson Coyven, and Nick Dunlap all together. I know I've gotten some flack for being high on Nick Dunlap because he's going through a major slump right now, but these are three very talented golfers under the age of 22 who I have high expectations for all of them. Obviously, with Dunlap and him going through some struggles, it's, the future is not as certain, but I think both Jackson Coyven and Luke Clanton have very, very bright futures in professional golf. The back-to-back SEC championships that Jackson Coyven has won, it's rare air that he's in. And to have three great starts on the PGA Tour in a row, you can have one fluky one, but to back it up 3 in a row, the kid is very special. So I can't wait to see what he's got in store.
Yeah, for sure. And then second, how impressive have you been with Ben Griffin this season? Obviously a guy that won on tour this year, and he's in the top, I think, 5 in the FedEx Cup standings right now. Kind of a guy that was a journeyman, quit golf for a little bit a couple of years ago, back on the PGA Tour and now playing the best golf of his career and has really set up his entire career this season.
Yeah, Ben Griffin's been excellent. I'm eager to see exactly where he lands at the end of the year. And, is he on the Ryder Cup team? He has a pretty strong case right now. How does he perform in the Ryder Cup if he is selected? He's a case of a golfer that was always pretty good, but he took his game to another level this year in a lot of ways by adding some speed, which is something we've seen over the past 5 to 10 years, this effort to gain speed and the advantage that it provides you with at the highest levels of professional golf. So Ben Griffin was solid last year and the year before, but adding some of the speed, he's become, he's like a 180 mile an hour ball speed guy, which puts him a little above average. So going from average or just below average to a little above average has a significant impact. We saw this with Xander Schauffele last year, who added some speed and took his game to another level. So it's really cool to see that hard work pay off. You can add some speed, but and keep the ball, kind of in the playing corridors and just not spray it. It provides you a massive advantage. Ben Griffin's been a great example of that. So I'm eager to see what he has the next couple months. I wouldn't necessarily consider him a lock for the Ryder Cup, but if he posts a couple solid performances coming in, he should round out the back of that roster.
There's obviously been a lot of talk about the bottom half of the Ryder Cup team for the U.S. and how there's just a lot more question marks out there. It was some of the guys that have kind of been staples and may not make it, Spieth, Brooks. Like, how much easier is it to go to some of the young guys if you're Keegan Bradley, given that this is a home Ryder Cup? Or is that something that maybe us casual fans make too much of?
Well, I think it's kind of crazy that we've arrived at a point where almost the consensus seems to be that Jordan Spieth and Brooks Koepka don't have that strong of cases. I feel like the landscape has changed a lot to where 5-8 years ago, everyone would have thought that's crazy. And there was always this letting golfers cling on to past accomplishments for a really long time. And I think people have kind of come around to, hey, like some of these young golfers who are ready to play are more deserving candidates. So as things stand right now, I don't think Jordan Spieth nor Brooks Koepka should be on the team. I don't worry as much about the home versus away thing. And does a young golfer have a better chance because it's at home? I don't worry as much about that, though I'm sure it helps that you're not dealing with the pressure of playing against an away crowd. But, yeah, you talked about guys like Cam Young, Chris Gotterup, and Griffin. Those are the types of names we're talking about for those last few spots. And then, obviously, there's this big controversy with Keegan Bradley as the captain. Is he also going to be on the team? But those names I just mentioned, if you told me you get any of them versus either Jordan Spieth or Brooks Koepka, tomorrow in a tournament, I'd take all of them. So if I were Keegan, I wouldn't be thinking twice about putting one of those names on the team over Jordan and Brooks. But again, there's still a few weeks left, especially for Jordan, to prove that he has a case on the team.
You touched on it there, but should Keegan Bradley play? Should he pick himself?
I'm going to sound like I'm a fence sitter here because I'm sympathetic to the argument that a captain, you shouldn't really be a captain and play at the same time because of all the responsibilities that are involved. It is a stressful situation to be in. But I also think some of this, I don't know, there's a little bit of a media uproar about the current status of Keegan Bradley and is this all a distraction? I think some of that's overstated. If Keegan does play, which right now I believe he should be on the team, then I would like to see him. He can retain his captain title, but I think he should pretty much abdicate all of the responsibilities to the vice captains and just focus on being a player, even if he retains the title of being a captain. The more he's trying to play and make decisions on the fly, I do think is a bad idea, but I don't have a lot of concerns about his ability to both play and, let the other vice captains kind of take the reins. So he needs to have a good couple weeks, but if it were starting tomorrow, I do fully believe Keegan Bradley is one of the best 12 Americans.
Friday Golf's Joseph Lamagna joining us right here on The Chase on a Tuesday. Joseph, what was your favorite major this year thus far?
It has to be the Masters. That final round from Rory, that was one of the coolest golf tournaments I've ever seen, and I know we can be victims to recency bias, but in terms of the emotional roller coaster of that round, I didn't feel that way watching the 2019 Masters that Tiger won. It was a really cool moment, but it wasn't the most dramatic round. It's not like we saw elite play from multiple golfers that day. When you combine Justin Rose's charge and the ups and downs, Rory starting with a double bogey, flipping a wedge into the water on 13, that round was pure chaos. On Thursday, of the Masters. Rory made 2 double bogeys, and some people thought his tournament was over. So just the roller coaster of that, and it culminating with a career Grand Slam. It's hard to not take, you just can't take these for granted that we watched one of the most special tournaments of the last 25 years. So for me, it's pretty clearly the Masters.
Who has had a great season on the tour this year that a lot of fans probably haven't given as much thought to having as good of a season just across the board? Like, they maybe haven't won a major, but they've had a good year that should be spotlighted, that you don't think they've found that nationally.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot. I'm inclined to say Russell Henley, because Russell Henley, I feel like over the last 5 years, he just doesn't get the respect that he deserves. At the 2023 Ryder Cup, there was all this conversation about who got snubbed. Did Keegan Bradley get snubbed? And I mentioned I thought Cam Young kind of got snubbed. I mean, you could absolutely have made the case that Russell Henley was the biggest snub in 2023. And over the last 2 years, he's just gotten better. So, he won at Bay Hill, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, one of the biggest wins of his career. He has, finished top 10 in both the Open Championship and the U.S. Open. He's a guy that doesn't hit the ball very far, but he's extremely consistent. So I don't know that he's always the flashiest name, but he just goes about his business. He's 36, kind of in that back half of his prime, but still in his prime. And I'd have a lot of confidence in him teeing it up in the Ryder Cup. So I just have a lot of admiration for his game, and I think he should get the respect that some of these other names who have won major championships do get. So I'll go with Russell Henley.
Okay. Final thing, we'll get you out of here on this, Joseph. On the flip side, who has had the most disappointing season that no one's really talked about for you?
I mean, it's clearly somebody like Brooks Koepka, who's missed the cut in 3 of the major championships this year. That's a huge disappointment. But I know you guys have wanted to touch a little bit on the Ryder Cup, and I think a huge story coming in is that both Justin Thomas and Colin Morikawa are pretty vulnerable. I did not like anything I've seen from them in the last couple of months, and I feel like for the casual fans who might be worried about guys like J.J. Spawn or Russell Henley or Harris English on the American side, and that some of those names don't inspire a lot of confidence, I have much more concern about what Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas might be bringing to the table for different reasons. I mean, Justin Thomas can't really hit his driver. He hasn't done well in a major championship. I think the stat off the top of my head, it's like 1 top 30 finish in his last 14 major starts, something like that. He really struggles with the driver, and you need to hit the driver and play at that stage. And then Colin Morikawa, he's not looked good recently. And this is something I'd written about observing him on the driving range at Royal Portrush. It was one of the most disheveled, frustrated range sessions I've seen after he played one of the worst rounds of a major that he's played recently. He just looks all out of sorts right now. So I think both those two guys, that's a huge story to keep an eye on as we get closer to the Ryder Cup. Keegan needs to be prepared to not play either Colin or Justin much if they're struggling.
Joseph, great stuff. What can the good folks check out from you all across Fried Egg Golf, both on the written front and the podcast front this week?
Yeah, you can always subscribe to the Fried Egg Golf newsletter. It goes out 3 times a week. It's free. We have a lot of pods now. We have a women's golf pod, the Fried Egg Golf podcast. That's kind of the flagship podcast once a week. Shotgun Start comes out 3 times a week. So lots of content for golf fans to consume. We'd love to have you. Great stuff. Thank you for making the time. We'll have to get you back on again soon, Joseph. Appreciate you guys having me. Have a good one. There you have it. Great stuff from Fried Egg Golf's Joseph Lamagna on all things Ryder Cup and the PGA Tour as a whole. But it was great getting an opportunity to talk to Joseph about where things are headed going into the Ryder Cup. When we come back, we'll talk to another insider, but this time on the gridiron. We'll talk to Terry McCormick of Titan Insider to do a deep dive on where things stand with the Tennessee Titans here in fall camp. So stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Check out our new and improved website at fanrunradio.com.
Hey Knoxville, Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, zero carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
In a world filled with deadlines and screens, sometimes we forget the simple joys of life. Days filled with special moments. At Inward Half, we understand the essence of these moments. Feel the difference between our breathable fabrics and flexible apparel as you disconnect from the hustle and bustle and reconnect with what truly matters. Inward Half. Simple luxury for on and off the course.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
The Drive with Russell Smith, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Join us weekday afternoons here on Fan Run Radio. We'll be discussing all the latest Tennessee football, basketball, and baseball news with expert analysis from special guests along with your phone calls. It's The Drive, weekday afternoons from 3 to 6, right here on Fan Run Radio.
Flagship station for Tennessee fans. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
The best athletes don't just play the game, they change it. When it comes to investing, Gainbridge is doing the same. Their online platform does things differently because it's designed to put you in charge of growing your own savings. It's intuitive, it's easy, and best of all, it's on your terms. No wonder Gainbridge has earned the trust of 40% repeat customers. It's a better way to invest because it's investing your way. Get started today at Gainbridge.io.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
On Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. On the line right now, TitanInsider.com's own Terry McCormick. Terry, good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
We're doing pretty well, We got multiple Titans fans here in studio with us here on this Tuesday afternoon. Do you have good news to report on where things are at right now in fall camp for the Titans?
Well, not based on how it ended Sunday, which is the last time that the team had a practice that we could watch as media. It ended with Brian Callahan kind of losing it on the offense in terms of just kind of having a little tirade there at the end of practice. And then after the tirade, he gathered the team up, spoke with them. Then even after that, he and quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree, whom you're familiar with, I'm sure, from his time at UT, and offensive coordinator Nick Holes stayed around to talk with Cam Ward for about 20 minutes more. So not the best of days ending the practice on Sunday, but they hit the field again tomorrow morning. We'll see if things have improved.
Well, I think one of the things, because you're right, seems like that's been a common reflection of the last week of the offense struggling. Certainly Sundays was maybe the most, at least demonstrative with the way things ended. Just how much weight do you put into this early in camp, the offense having bad days? Is that something that changes your outlook much for what the Titans can be offensively this season? Or is that just life as it goes early in NFL training camp with the young quarterback?
Well, some of that is exactly that. It's, what happens with breaking in a rookie quarterback early in training camp. You can't base an entire season off what you see the first 10 days of camp. But the trend is a little bit unsettling because you would hope that by now the offense would be winning its share of days, so to speak. And they really have only won one, maybe 2 days out of the 10. The defense, which, certainly has its own question marks, has had the upper hand for the most part. I think, is a lot of it is just the growing pains of Cam Ward and the growing pains of young players that they're trying to put around it because, much like you saw last year with Will Levis, there's not a lot around in terms of star power. The offensive line may be some better. They're hoping that it is better than last year when it was a sieve a lot of times on pass downs. And I think that they're hopeful that some of these young receivers will emerge to give them somebody besides Calvin Ridley that's an actual threat to make a play in the pass game. So, but it's still very early. It's still a work in progress, and this is a roster that still is behind in talent when compared to some of the better teams in the league because of all the draft misses through a 3 or 4 year span from 2020 to now into 2023.
Yeah, and when you go ahead, Jay. What do you got for him?
Oh, yeah. So I was looking at the unofficial depth chart that came out yesterday, and I was looking at the tight ends. It looked like a big tight end 2 battle between Gunnar Helm and Josh Wiley. How has Gunnar been looking so far?
Catches the ball really well. He has very soft hands. He's not the most athletic. He's not going to run past you. He's not going to dazzle you with, a juke move or anything like that, but he's solid. He can block. He does what you want a tight end to do. I think the kid has some promise. If you're looking to run out and add somebody for your fantasy team, wouldn't do that just yet because not going to be on a team that's going to produce a lot of fantasy points probably. But he is a guy I think that can be really solid as a number 2 tight end. I would give him the edge over Josh Wiley right now in that battle to be tight end 2.
Titan Insider Terry McCormick joining us right here on The Chase. Terry, one of the things that I'm also really curious about, when you look at just the position battles all across the board, which has been the one that has just caught your eye the most that you're so curious to see play out over the next few preseason games here?
Well, it's interesting to me, because there really haven't been a lot of what you would call position battles. They said that the inside linebacker job alongside Cody Barton would be up for grabs. Well, nobody's gotten first-team reps except for James Williams with that first-team group. So to me, they really haven't emphasized competition for starting spots seemingly as much as there's competition for depth spots. One of the areas where I think that could change maybe as the preseason goes along, but probably more so as the regular season goes along. I could see them, if they start to take a liking to Alec Alexander or Chimere Dike as a young receiver, if I could see their reps start to increase maybe at the expense of a Tyler Lockett or a Van Jefferson, who are currently slotted alongside Calvin Ridley in the 3 wide set as the starters.
Man, Van Jefferson, you hear that as a starter, as a Falcons guy here, Terry, and it's just two Falcons legends, Calvin Ridley and Van Jefferson. But Van Jefferson is he's the theoretical guy. He's just been on so many different teams, and a lot of folks will talk themselves into Van Jefferson. But, I mean, with Treylon Burks getting released and what the Titans did this offseason at receiver, are you kind of surprised that this is what they're giving Cam Ward, a rookie quarterback, to work with out wide?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm surprised they didn't make more of a splash, but they said their priorities are going to be draft, develop, and retain. And so when you do that, you have to start hoping that 4th-round picks like DK and Iomanner start to hit. I made the comparison, too, that right now the Titans are sort of like the football equivalent of like the Pittsburgh Pirates, where there'll be 2 or 3 young stars that are, in the making. And then there's all these guys who are like 32 years old and they're hanging around on a major league roster hitting 230. And you're going, why is that guy still in the league? You know what I'm saying? There's some of those type of guys here. And it really is because of the misses in the draft. They've had to go into free agency and pick these second-tier guys, because last year when they tried to pick the first-tier guys, the Jarius Sneeds and the Chidobe Awuzis and, some of the other people really Calvin Ridley was the only one that panned out, and maybe Tony Pollard. That's only two that panned out on a team that went gung-ho into free agency trying to fill the holes and put a decent team on the field last year as they tried to develop Will Levis.
Terry, I'm curious with the J.C. Latham situation. They draft a right tackle, move him to left tackle, kind of an up and down rookie season. Did you hear a lot last year during the season or maybe early in the offseason, like a belief from people inside the building that JC was a lot better suited long-term to go back to right tackle? Or do you think that was more of the extent that they felt like, all right, the best tackle available that we can get in free agency is Dan Moore, so because of that, we will move him to right tackle? Was that a little bit more of a causation, or what do you think exactly led to that move back to right tackle after 1 year?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think that they knew that they needed to upgrade at the tackle position, especially the right tackle position, where Nicholas Petit-Ferrer and John Ojukwu and Jalen Duncan and seemingly a cast of thousands all failed in that role last year. And I think that, J.C. Latham, over the course of his rookie year, wore down. He was playing pretty good football in the middle of the year, when they were going against, Minnesota and I think maybe Washington and that Houston game where they, battled back and won down there at NRG Stadium. He was playing pretty well at that point, but then he wore down. I think that is part of the reason that they wanted him to lose weight, get in better shape. But then toward the end of the year, I think Bill Callahan started toying with the idea of maybe he would be better on the right side. Let's see what's available in free agency. They went and got Dan Moore, who's a left tackle, who's, probably not a world beater at left tackle, but certainly an upgrade over the Andre Dillards and Dennis Daly's and the like that they've been running out there since Taylor Lewan was injured and his career ended. So they decided to kill two birds with the one stone by trying to fix both tackle positions, by putting a veteran guy that they feel like still has some upside in Moore on the left side and shifting Latham back to the right side, hoping that a slimmer version of him at his natural position will play better in year two.
I think if we're going back to the receiving core, do you think Xavier Restrepo has already finalized a roster spot, or do you think he has to still work for one?
No, he's not. He's not a lock for the roster by any means. I think part of what there's two things that will determine whether or not he makes the 53 or goes on the practice squad. One of those is how many receivers are they going to keep? If they keep 6, it's going to be hard for him to make it. He's battling right now James Prochet for the 7th spot, and that 7th spot might go to somebody who can handle kick and punt returns, and that's Prochet's bag. Restrepo's been a guy that's been back there on returns doing some stuff, but that's not really his strongest suit. And that said, Restrepo, in order to be on the 53-man roster, has to find a spot on special teams where he can contribute regularly. Because if you're going to be a team's 6th receiver or 7th, if they keep one, if you're going to be active on game day, you got to know how to cover kicks. You got to know how to, be on return teams. You got to make yourself useful in other ways besides the 6 reps you might get in the pass route as a low-ranking receiver.
What is Lloyd Cushenberry's injury status looking right now?
Still on PUP, as is L'Jarius Sneed. Brian Callahan told me Saturday that they could get activated off PUP. The preliminary target date is the week that they go down and practice against the Falcons. They won't do any team drills in those, so still a work in progress. Corey Levin, UT Chattanooga legend, is manning the center spot in the interim and doing a pretty decent job of it. But certainly Lloyd Cushenberry would be an upgrade there as a guy to anchor the middle of that line the way that they hope he can. It'll be interesting to see if he can get himself back into game shape and ready by week 1. I think it's probably no better than maybe 50-50 or 60-40 that he can do that.
What's been the most impressive part of Cam Ward's arrival at Tennessee thus far? Has it been practice regimen and hearing certain things from coaches and players about his routine? What has been the most impressive part to you about Cam Ward thus far?
I think a couple of things. I think, the coaches rave about him. They talk about how he picks things up quickly, how he doesn't make the same mistake twice. Now, we've seen a lot of, plays on the practice field where he's really kind of struggled. But then occasionally you'll see a flash of where he makes a really nice throw, makes a really nice play. And you'll say, hey, okay, you're starting to see a little bit of what they saw in him. So to me, one of the things I like about him is that he does seem to have a better command of the short and intermediate game. One of the shortcomings of Will Levis last year was, he seemed to want to go get the big play too much. And to a certain degree, that might be understandable because, how many games were the Titans down 14-0 before you could get comfortable in your seat? So, but Ward is more willing to take what's there, take the check downs, take the 7-yard slant, take the game that's there in order to keep a drive alive, in order to move it. He's not as much of a, all in, go for broke type of guy, kind of like Levis was at times last year. So I think that's one of the things, too, that Brian Callahan and the staff really like about him is his ability to, take what's there rather than force the ball, even though early in camp there have been some forced throws because I think he's starting to try and figure out what works and what doesn't.
We'll get you out of here on this, Terry. What's the number, or is there one, in terms of wins for Callahan to feel safe going into the offseason?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, a lot of people have speculated, is it 6, is it 7, or what it might be. I don't know necessarily that it's so much a number, but is it something where you can see tangible progress? Is Cam Ward better in week 17 than he was in week 1 or 2? Last year with Levis, I don't know that there were areas where you could say he was a lot better, the last month of the season than he was the first month of the season, because there was, things that just didn't work. I think, some of that is just the natural growth and problems you have as a quarterback. But I think for Brian Callahan, more than wins and losses in my mind, it's how much does Cam Ward improve? How much does he get out of this roster so that it looks more competitive on a week-to-week basis so that you're not down like they were in Washington 28-0 before, the first quarter is even over.
Terry, what can the good folks check out from you over at TitanInsider.com this week?
Okay, we'll have a report on practice tomorrow. I'm not going to be making the trip to Tampa because it's just a one-day practice, but I've got the good folks down at Pewter Report who do an excellent job covering the Bucs. They're going to send me a report on the Titans, and that will be posted on Titan Insider on Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday they'll be down there for the game, and then I will be in Atlanta next week for coverage.
I love it. Keep up the great work, Terry, and we'll have to check back in again soon.
All right, sounds good. Have a good day.
Terry McCormick, Titan Insider. Great stuff on all the latest on the Tennessee Titans, Cam Ward and company, and with preseason play on its way this week. Stay locked in, Terry, and all the great stuff coming Titans fans' ways. Maybe pretty optimistic.
Hopefully.
Cam Ward it sounds
Possibly.
pretty hopeful. Offensive line seems like it might be better.
There's nowhere to go but up.
There's nowhere to go but up. We'll leave it there. When we come back, we'll kick off hour number 2 talking all things college basketball. The NCAA men's tournament staying at 68 teams. Zakai versus Jacoby Gillespie, and where things are going to be on that front. So stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox, Fox Sports Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
When it's past high noon, it's time for a vodka soda made with a vodka you've actually heard of. I'm talking White Claw vodka soda made with White Claw premium vodka. JB Smooth Only drinks vodka soda made with the world's smoothest vodka.
And you can too. Pick you up a bottle of the Triple Wave filtered vodka that's been distilled 5 times. White Claw Premium Vodka comes in 4 flavors: black cherry, mango, pineapple, and just vodka. You haven't had vodka like this. No one has. White Claw Premium Vodka. Please drink responsibly.
Hungry for some mouth-watering barbecue? Then take the quick drive up I-75 to Rickard Ridge for some of the best barbecue you'll ever have. Fall off the bone, Memphis-style baby back ribs, slow-smoked chicken thighs, and fresh hand-cut steaks. Rickard Ridge has something for everyone. Located in Cove Lake State Park with a spectacular view of the Cumberland Mountains, Rickard Ridge. It's more than just dinner, it's a destination. Check out their full menu and catering options online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance. And we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance. Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
You're listening to FM 105.7 and AM 1340, WKGN Knoxville, and W289CU Knoxville, Fan Run Radio.
Whether you're heading to work, taking the kids to school, or planning your next road trip, your car needs to be ready for the ride. Hi, I'm Russell Smith, and I've been a customer at Matlock Tire and Auto Service for about as long as I've been driving. For me, it all comes down to trust. Look, I'm not a car guy, and I just don't want to get taken advantage of on car maintenance costs. Matlock Tire Service is a family-owned and operated business, and they wouldn't have made it this long if they hadn't been providing trustworthy service you can depend on. They're the home of the price match guarantee, which means you can bring in any competitor's ad, and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. I've bought a lot of tires at Matlock over the years, and I always go there for my oil changes. You should too. They've got locations in Farragut, Hardin Valley, Lenoir City, Maryville, and Athens. Visit their website, matlocktireservice.com, to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment. Tell them Fan Run Radio sent you. Honest service, quality work, dependable care, Matlock Tire and Auto Service.
Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. We're also streaming on a video front over there on Fan Run Sports, where shout out to Richard from Cochrane saying "Go Vols" on the stream there. So appreciate Richard for tuning in, and you can join the conversation there on Fan Run Sports on our YouTube channel as we continue to grow that each and every day. And you can watch all of Fan Run Sports radio shows and Fox Sports Knoxville shows right here on the YouTube channel, all 13 hours a day. Don't forget, folks, from 3 to 6 this afternoon, Russell Smith and the Bear and the team at The Drive will be broadcasting live from Matlock Tire and Auto Service on Kingston Pike in Farragut. Come by, pick up some free tickets for Fan Run Night at Covenant Health Ballpark tomorrow for Fan Run Night for the Knoxville Smokies here on a Wednesday, weather permitting. Of course. Hopefully the weather cooperates tomorrow night. But make sure if you have the time and are able to pop in to Matlock Tire and Auto Service on Kingston Pike and Farragut this afternoon to see the fellas, go ahead and do so, and you might get some free tickets. So there you go, from 3 to 6, Russell Smith and The Drive today. As we continue on here in hour number 2, right here on the Chase, Ryan Shumpert of RockyTopInsider.com in studio with us. Ryan, NCAA men's tournament did the smart thing, which was they stayed at 68 teams for at least a couple more seasons. What was your immediate reaction, and did you think this was actually going to happen?
The stay was actually going to happen?
Yeah, that they were actually going to stay at 68.
Yeah, I think it seemed like it was trending that way, at least for next year, for a couple weeks. So, yes. I think the way everything was phrased, in which they're going to continue looking at options, like they just want to ignore fans, ignore what everybody thinks is best, and do what they can do to make the most money. So it's not shocking. That's how most college sports work currently, but at least we fought it off temporarily. It's at least a short-term victory.
It's one of those where, like, college ball playoff expansion, I'm more open to debate. From 12 to 16 or 14, whatever, like, we can have reasonable minds can disagree. No one has ever been like, you know what the NCAA men's March Madness tournament needs? We need to get up to the 70s and 80s. That's never been a thing any college basketball fan has said. No, there's no Tennessee fan all across East Tennessee who's like, you know what? I would have liked to see a little bit more SEC teams get into the mix. And this is something where Greg Sankey is conflicted, right? Because he's representing the best interests of the Southeastern Conference. Like, that is his main priority, right? The problem is nobody wants all of these SEC teams to make defeats the whole purpose of the regular season. Like, you don't want the majority to make the NCAA tournament, because then it's like, well, what do we just spend 5-6 months doing? Like, you don't need to do all that. Like, you want to have some teams left out. And to me, it's like that whole argument, like, I understand it more on the football side of things than I do on the college basketball side of things. Like, I understand more access and having more SEC teams is probably better for the CFP. Like, I think that ultimately is a little bit different. The Power 2 in football is very different than the Power 2, because it doesn't exist as a Power 2 format in college basketball. So it's just a different world. So for me, I'm glad they're staying at 68. It seems unlikely that they're going to be able to hold off for that much longer. But it's nice, because this is one of those things where who actually was complaining about this? Because you actually will hear nobody, but you'll hear it.
Was the basketball coach? He'd probably want 140 teams.
Yeah, and it's like, when does that actually stop? Like, that's just ridiculous. We don't want an all-encompassing invitational here.
And it's like, if they're going to expand it,
yeah,
don't give me more SEC teams.
Correct.
Give me Missouri Valley Conference teams. Give me A-10 teams. Give me Mountain West teams.
Yeah.
Give me these lower conference teams that are good conferences, just not Power 4, and these teams that get left on the bubble. Give me those teams in.
But that's not how it will go if they add more.
No, definitely not.
It's going to be all SEC and all Big Ten.
Yeah, it's all about the money. They just want the money. Those teams will beat the worst teams in the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC in basketball. Yeah. The worst team in the ACC, I don't know who it was, but like Boston College, they're going to lose to any bubble team that is from any other like Northern Iowa. They're a team that's always in the tournament, plays well. They're going to beat Boston College in an NCAA tournament game, but that's just how it goes. We don't need more ACC teams when we could get more other teams from smaller conferences.
We don't need teams that won 7 conference games making an NCAA tournament.
No, we don't need, we really got to get Georgia in here. We really got to get a bad Mizzou team in here. We need to get South Carolina in here or something. It's like, no, you don't need to get LSU, the bottom end of the SEC. You don't need that. Like, that is not going to move the needle. And they're like, well, it's just bigger fan bases, and it keeps them in the mix. And they're like, no, do you know what the fans are? They're not in the mix because they know that this team's not good.
It really kept, and granted, like, Georgia wasn't really a bubble team last year. They did deserve to make the tournament, but it really kept Georgia fans in the mix.
Yeah.
When they got to show up for the tournament and be down 18-4 to Gonzaga at the first media timeout. I'm sure those Georgia fans were really locked in. Those 25 Georgia fans that care about college basketball were locked in. And then the rest of the Georgia fan base, I'm sure, was really, really excited that they got to watch them just get throttled by Gonzaga in the first round.
But they have that one Final Four from the 80s.
They do. Dominic Wilkins.
That they like to milk.
The North Carolina State National Championship here, 83.
Yeah, I'm glad it's 68, though, for a little bit longer.
What would the field of 68, like that, like media company?
Yeah.
What do they do if they get a 72, or like do they change every handle? They're like the field of 72 now, or do they just keep rocking the field of 68.
It is funny. I'm subscribed to their newsletter, and the title of it today, or the subject line was "We're still to field of 68," like ... for now, or something like that.
Yeah, it's a dangerous thing where the SEC can just keep expanding. Doesn't really matter. They don't have a number in the name, but the Big Ten, that there's now a way around it, which is the big conference, which is kind of what they're doing. With the number, like they're trying to get around the 10 part of it.
It's what Donald Trump would do.
Yes,
the big conference.
It's just the big conference, and the Big 12. Guess what? Not 12 members. You look at the Pac-12, they struggle with it. Like, it's just when you throw the numbers out in college football or anything in college sports, you're in trouble. Like Major League Baseball, they understand like the Central Division, the North. Like, we're going geographical here.
Well, the Pac-12 will be back though.
Well, it's not gonna be the 12 though.
Yeah,
it's gonna be the 8,
9,
Well,
9.
yeah.
The Pac's fine. You can just call it the Pac.
Yeah.
The Pacific Athletic Conference. Like
there you go.
ACC.
The A10. It's not 10 teams in the A10.
Yeah, it's a dangerous game. It's something that no one should do.
But you don't want to change it to like the big. Like, I think that would sound stupid. Like
I would change it to the big.
I would do
yeah.
Like it's just historically that's what it is.
How about BIG? SEC BIG.
No. Big
BIG
18.
sounds crazy.
The Big 18 sounds better than the Big.
I think the Big Ten, to your point, Chase, is enough of an institution that I don't think you can change numbers on the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because the old logo, when it was 11 teams when Penn State joined, they had like a hidden 11 in it.
Yeah, it's silly. Don't do numbers. You back yourself in a corner, and then we just get to make fun of you forever.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that's not been the correct number of teams in a while. We just moved past it. It's one of those things. We're just like, yeah, we're going to call them the Big 12. It's like, when was the last time they had why are we calling them the Big 12?
Thankfully, it was never the SEC 12.
Yeah.
I just don't want them to keep adding teams and changing their commercial. Their commercial's too beautiful to let it be changed.
Yeah.
You got to think about the commercials here.
It was even better without the West Coast.
Yeah. This season, Ryan Shumpert, as our resident Tennessee men's hoops aficionado here, the freshman outside of Nate Ament you are most excited about watching this season is who?
I think it's Troy Henderson is probably the guy for me that I'm most excited to watch because I think he's a really talented offensive player, and I think he could long-term be the point guard for Tennessee, a starting point guard for Tennessee, especially if this year goes well for him. I think it would have to go really well for him for them to not go out and bank on grabbing another point guard next year, whether that be the portal or some of the high-level guys that they're pursuing in the prep ranks right now. But I think it's probably him. I think going back to our conversation on the podcast last night, if Cade Phillips does end up playing a lot at the 3, I think I'd become a lot more intrigued about Dwayne Brown because he's had a really nice summer and I like his game. But Cade Phillips is playing the 4. He's kind of boxed out of how he's going to get minutes unless there's an injury. So that would kind of open up a role for him. And then he's not a freshman, but Eton Berg, I'm excited to see what he has when he gets to campus. And I think his game will surprise some people. I think people just international kid, the Santiago Vescovi mold of like, he's just like a really good shooter. Like that's his game. And he can shoot the ball well, but he is a lot more to his game than just that. So we'll see how much of that translates to the SEC and the greater athleticism. But he's got more to his game. And, those international leagues, you got to have a certain number of, natural born players from that country. He was pretty widely considered one of the best Israeli players in that league. So I think it'll be curious to see how he performs at Tennessee.
What about you, Jay? Who's your freshman?
It's got to be Amari Evans, right? Someone to fill in. Again, not on the same level, but the Meshack, Ziegler role, so like a very strong defender. Some guy, I think you said he had potential to play for multiple years. I think it's got to be Amari Evans for me.
The thing about Amari, though, and Meshack, Meshack was not a factor as a true freshman, but he's a lot further along, it seems like, than Meshack. But Meshack was a high 4-star.
A little bit as a freshman.
Yeah, not a lot, though. He didn't have a consistent role.
It was the Devontae Gaines off the bench defensive spark. The reason I don't say Evans, because I think that's accurate, I just wonder if Evans gets boxed out by Bishop Boswell, who's also kind of that. Those are the two guys I would probably say right now have the potential to be Tennessee's 2 best perimeter defenders. Does he get boxed out as a guy that has missed some time this summer and Boswell has a year in the system? Because I do think long-term Evans' offensive ceiling is a lot higher than Boswell's, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure this year we're really going to see that Evans is like a lot more well-rounded offensive player than Boswell.
What about you, Garrett?
I would have said Dwayne Brown. I think Evans will be more of a project, but I think in the future it'll be kind of cool to see what he does. And then another project, I think Clarence Basamba. I mean, I know we haven't really seen anything of him or much of him, but anytime you get a guy coming from Europe, especially those French guys, like, they just really, I don't know, they interest me and intrigue me to see what he can do. So a couple of years down the line, I think he could be a pivotal piece, on the team. So again, like, I don't think we'll see him very much this year, but I think he'll be an interesting piece going forward coming in this year.
Ryan, I think Clarence Basamba is going to be all right.
All right.
He's going to be all right. Shout out to Clarence Basamba because he's in our algorithm. Shump and I are big Arrested Development fans. And I said this to him last night where
took me a minute to pick up on this.
Yeah, where I'm already a Clarence Basamba guy, but Clarence Basamba liked a reel which was highlighting an all-time great bit on Arrested Development with the doctor, and he's going to be all right. Yeah, he's not. He's got no. You're taking this extremely well and better than I thought you would. And for all of the Arrested Development fans here,
he appears to be dead.
Yes, like they understand what we're talking about here. But Clarence Basamba liked the reel because I would looked at it. I'm like, who's that? And it's like, oh, Clarence Basamba. So Clarence Basamba, maybe a sneaky Arrested Development guy. You need to ask him when he gets to campus. Be like, what's your Arrested Development level of fandom here? Because I could not buy any more stock than I mean, maybe if he's like, I love Curb too. Like if he throws in some Arrested Development and Curb Your Enthusiasm stuff, it's like Clarence Basamba, stock through the roof.
Well, that's always the great one because I follow these recruits and stuff, like mostly put them on notifications of all right, if they're going to tweet their commitments, I can see it immediately. Chris Ledlum is one that had a lot of golf content that he would like, and Landon Mack, big golfer.
Interesting.
I think the new guy is Mark Hindy, the Duke transfer. When I reached out to him about talking to him, I was on the golf course, and he said, I can talk right now. I said, I'll be done, and so if you can do later tonight. And he was asking me all about my round when I got done. So those two guys, those two Tennessee pitchers, they're locked in things on the links.
What is the timeline on Basamba? Like, do we still know, like, process of when he gets to campus and everything, how that's gonna the year and everything?
Last week, Rick said that the expectation is for him to be there when class starts here in a couple weeks, but we'll see. I think there's more moving parts with Eton and his playing on the international team or international tryouts with the Israel team as compared to Basamba with the French national team because he's been doing some of that. But we'll see. I mean, the expectation, what I was told in June was that Basamba was going to be there in July, and obviously that never came to fruition. So we'll see exactly what happens, but that's my expectation right now, though it is kind of to the monitoring stage because he's a guy that is different for Berg, who's 22, about to turn 23, has played high-level international basketball compared to a really young guy in Basamba when you're just projecting what their role be this coming season.
Yeah. You guys are the students. Y'all are on Basamba watch. So just keep your eyes peeled around campus over the next couple weeks.
6'5" French guy.
Yeah, like I think he
super long arms.
Yeah.
Are you Clarence? Like, just drop what you're doing. Don't worry about your first week of school. Just really focus, lock in on if you can find Clarence Basamba. It's like a Where's Waldo situation.
Really embarrassing if you just walked up to a random kid that's 6'5".
Yeah.
For an exchange student. Hey man, are you Clarence?
Just sit outside on the picnic tables outside of Stokely. Just do that all day, 40 hours a week, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Basamba watch. I love it. I will say, I think I've told this on the air before, but like when I was in graduate school at UT, there was just out of the blue, like I ran into Zakai Ziegler more than any other Tennessee athlete. And it was just the most awkward thing because I don't know Zakai, but I would always because Zakai can't really hide on campus. Like Zakai, it's Zakai. And like I just did awkward wave. I think I've done 4 awkward waves to Zakai Ziegler where we see each other, and it's just like, I got nothing for you. Like, I'm not going to sit down and have a conversation with you. You're walking somewhere, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, I got to stop running into Zakai. Like, it's just got to stop.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, like I have nothing for you, and I'm not going to bother you. So it's just I always do the awkward hand up there, and that's just the nature of the beast. But
I ran into Jemiah a lot freshman year.
Oh,
that was the athlete that I ran into a lot.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to run into. I don't know who would be the number one pick of like who I'd just be like, I'd probably start talking to JP.
I had one.
JP, what do we got to do to get you in the rotation this year?
And JP would be a great one because he's so personable too.
JP and he'd be like, oh, I just missed my class. I'm like, sorry, JP. We're strategizing here to how to make sure you are an integral part of this Tennessee basketball rotation this fall.
I had one. I think I was the same year as Trey Lipscomb, and it was like fall of his sophomore year. So like, he wasn't a big name at that point, but it was after one of the fall scrimmages where he had like a big scrimmage, and I saw him in one of the pod markets on campus and was talking to him about his big scrimmage, and you could just tell he was like, because he never talked to the media at that point in his career either, so he didn't know that I like covered the team. He's like, just very much like, who in the world is this guy, and why does he know that I went 3 for 5 with 2 doubles on Saturday against Clemson?
I love it. Great stuff. And when we come back, we'll talk to G6 Garrett and get our Troy preview here as we wrap up the Sun Belt here ahead of this college football season, kicking off with week 0 in 2.5 weeks. We'll talk about Penn State, if they're this year's Ohio State, and what happens to the narrative if the SEC does not win a national championship in football for the 3rd consecutive season. Stick with us. It's The Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Hey, folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
Citizens National Bank. You want a bank that lets you bank when and where you want to. Your local branch, the grocery store, your computer, your phone, it's up to you. You want people who care about taking care of you and your money too. Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Knoxville, mark your calendars. Fan Run Night at the ballpark is back. Join us Wednesday, August 6th at Covenant Health Park as the Knoxville Smokies take on Biloxi and we take over the stands. It's all you can eat night, so make sure to bring your appetite. Plus, we're hooking up the fans with exclusive Fan Run swag giveaways you won't want to miss. Come hang with the Fan Run crew, rep your team, and enjoy a summer night of baseball, food, and fun. Fan Run Night, August 6th. Be there.
Yo, 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 what is up with it, homies? Talk sports. That's the show you want. It's the longest running sports radio morning show in town. You want your radio shows to be fun, and that's what Talk Sports is. Fun, fun, fun. No weirdo callers. I think Tennessee's going to go 6-6 this year. No nerdy guests. Well, their receiver depth is a little bit thin. Just two of the most entertaining guys in town, and Bubba giving you what you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. You can also watch us on Fan Run Sports, live stream all day long, all of our shows right there on Fan Run Sports on our YouTube channel, which is growing more and more each and every day. So if you want to watch us and all of our great programming right here on Fox Sports Knoxville, you can do so by checking in on the Fan Run YouTube account. Before we get to G5 Garrett to talk all things Troy as we wrap up our Sun Belt preview, don't forget here at from 3 to 6 The Drive with Russell Smith will be live at Matlock Tire and Auto Service on Kingston Pike right here in Farragut. Come by and pick up some free tickets for Fan Run Night at the ballpark for the Knoxville Smokies game for tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. So make sure if you are in the area and are able to stop by and check in on Russell and the Bear, do so. They're there from 3 to 6, again, at Matlock Tire and Auto Service on Kingston Pike in Farragut. G6 Garrett, what do you got for us here on these Troy Trojans going into 2026, sir?
Yep, this will be their second year with their new head coach, Gerard Parker. Obviously took over for John Summerall when he took the Tulane job a couple years back. First season under them last year was not great. They went 4-8. They had some various problems on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. But they bring back one of the highest ranked production rankings in the country. 66% of their production comes back this year, ranking them 19th nationally. They do lose some transfers to the portal on the offensive side of the ball, most notably Damian Taylor, who's going to Ole Miss, their running back, and Devontae Ross, who's going to be a wide receiver in the Penn State room this year. He'll probably be one of their top 3 receiving targets this year for Drew Aller, so obviously losing him will be pretty rough. But they have some incoming offensive transfers. Vyson Lang, O-lineman, Tennessee guy. Then you have Ra Thomas. He was at Mississippi State and then Georgia. Had some legal problems, so not exactly sure what his status is this year. But 2 years ago at Mississippi State, he was one of the best wide receivers in the SEC. 600-plus receiving yards, 7 TDs, 14 yards per catch. So we'll see if he can do that at Troy, if he's given the all clear to be able to play. And then they bring in one of the top wide receivers through the community college ranks, through the JUCO rankings, who had over, I believe, 600 receiving yards last year. And then they bring in a couple of running backs from some different positions as well. Trey Cooley, who was at Georgia Tech in kind of a backup role. And Dennis Palmer, who was a standout running back at Bethune-Cookman last year at the FCS level. Returning on offense, they might have the best QB1 name in the country, Goose Crowder. Pretty good name there. He looked good last year in the games that he played, 542 passing yards, 5 TDs. Don't believe he threw any interceptions in the games that he played. So he's a guy that should be one of the top quarterbacks in the Sun Belt if he plays to his potential this season. And then they bring back a lot of guys on their offensive line that have had starts in their career, some being more than others. Eli Russ has started 21 of the last 25 games, so he'll be kind of their main guy. But Elijah Prather last year started all 12 games. Right side of their offensive line, definitely a little more or less experienced than the left side, but I think they have enough guys on the offensive line that it should be decent. And then incoming on the defensive side of the ball, they bring in a D2 standout and Jaquaz Wez, cornerback from Washburn, 32 solo tackles last year. They bring in Kalino Levine, cornerback from Missouri State, who had 31 solo tackles last year. And they bring in Elijah Davis, an edge from Georgia, and David Daniel Savannah, safety from Georgia. So they bring in some Power 4 talent there. They bring back a lot on their defensive side of the ball in the secondary, including Justin Powell, who had 38 solos, 2 interceptions last year, Devin Lafayette, Jordan Perry, Jordan Stringer, and then up front they bring back a couple other guys, Julian Peter, who had 2.5 sacks last year, who's their leading sacks guy returning. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this year. They have a pretty rough non-conference schedule. They get Clemson, who is probably definitely the favorite in the ACC this year. Memphis, who will be one of the favorites in the American, and Buffalo, who's probably the favorite in the MAC. So that's going to be most likely 0-3 on those games. They play Nicholas as their FCS game, should obviously win that one. And then in conference play, they play South Alabama, Texas State, Louisiana Monroe, Louisiana, Arkansas State, Old Dominion, Georgia State, and Southern Miss. So I think if they were to make a bowl game this year, that would definitely be an impressive feat with the schedule that they have and kind of with the rebuild on some important pieces in the wide receiver room. But they have enough talent that they bring back that they've developed in-house. Like I said, 66% returning production. They just have to have those guys that didn't play as much last year be able to step in more of a starting role this season and produce on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
You going over or under on their win-loss projection here?
I don't remember what their actual number was. I want to say it was like 5.5. I would say, yeah, like 5-7, 6-6 would probably be where I would net out on. I mean, I think if they go,
It's 5.5.
5.5. I don't know, with that non-conference schedule, I think it's hard to find 6 wins, but I think 5-7 is probably where I would go.
So you're hitting the under.
Yeah, let's see. So 0-3, 1-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5. I'm looking at their schedule. 3-6, 4-6. Yeah, I mean, if they beat Georgia State and Southern Miss the last 2 games of the season, I think that would put them bowl eligible. But they got to beat they got to beat both those teams most likely.
There you have it. G6 Garrett wrapping up the Sun Belt. We'll get back in the think tank here and think about where we'll go next on the G6 front as we wrap up the Sun Belt. But there are a whole lot more teams we can talk about all across the G6 ranks. So we'll continue that conversation on Thursday. So good stuff as always from Garrett. As we continue on here, you can join the conversation, 865-966-3435, to jump in with us here in our final 2 segments here on The Chase. 865-966-3435 is the way to join the program. Penn State, here's something I think is pretty interesting, Ryan, is when you look at the coaches poll yesterday, you look at Brett McMurphy of On3's top 25 poll. One of the things to me that just, I think it's becoming more and more clear is that nobody wants to put their name on James Franklin preseason number 1 overall. If you put Penn State's roster and coordinators on Ohio State, on Michigan, on Georgia, on Alabama, they're absolutely a unanimous preseason number 1 overall. There is a very scared contingent of beat writers, coaches polls, everything that everyone knows.
I don't think the coaches are scared.
Maybe not even the coaches, but I think people are afraid to put their name on James Franklin preseason number 1 overall, even though Jim Knowles and Annie Kolanecki, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, the great OC that Penn State has, they pulled from Kansas a couple years ago, and Lance Leipold staff.
Yep.
Drew Aller, Singleton Allen, Pena and company. Like, this is the year. Penn State has the Ohio State roster, close to it, not the 90% blue chip guys, but I think Penn State has the best roster plus coordinator combination like Ohio State had a year ago. It's just no one wants to put their name on James Franklin winning the national title this year because he has not won the big one yet. But it's also like they went to the Final Four last year.
He's also a good coach.
He's a great coach.
He did at Vanderbilt, and no coach has done. I mean, Clark Lee's done a pretty decent job,
but not Franklin.
Anywhere close to what Franklin. I mean,
no.
Franklin had them winning 10 games in a season.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue Derek Mason had done a better job before, maybe even last year.
Yeah, I mean, Derek Mason got him to 2 winning seasons.
Yeah, so I mean, Clark Lee hasn't gotten there yet.
Hardest. I mean, it's one of the probably I'd say 3 or 4 hardest.
But I'm saying 2. He hasn't gotten 2 yet.
It's one of the 3 or 4 hardest Power 4 jobs.
Yeah, I will say, despite his lack of winning big games, he never gets upset too.
True.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, they always lose to Ohio State and
Michigan
every year.
Yeah,
I think to your point, Chase, because you're on the nose here. I think there's an element from the college football people who don't want to put their name on Drew Aller either. You look at the people that really hype up Drew Aller; it's all NFL draft people. Yeah. The people who are projecting him at the next level to love him. And I think everybody's like, yeah, he was good, he was better last year, but there is still, I think, amongst the college football media, a reluctance to mention him as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, even though, like I'd say Cade Klubnik's the one that I'd compare the difference. Why? Cade Klubnik's universally seen as a top 3 quarterback in the country, and Drew Aller's probably up there in most of those lists, but I feel like there's a lot more trust, confidence in Klubnik, even though if you're going to look at their full body of work, Aller's been better, and even the ceiling, I'm not sure, Klubnik's been much, much better at his very best compared to Aller.
Well, Aller actually he has 3 receivers he can throw to this year, whereas previous years he hasn't had receivers. He threw for 3,300 yards last year, 24 TDs, 8 interceptions. 2023, threw for 2,600 yards, 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So he's thrown 49 touchdowns on 10 interceptions in his past 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'll say that's pretty good. His QBR last year is 16th in the country, which QBR is kind of an odd stat, but still, I mean, that shows you're a pretty good to have those stats with a wide receiver room that he's had the past 2 years that is outside of 1 or 2 guys hasn't been that great. And then this year you have, I mean, they went out and got Trevor Pena, who was the number 1 wide receiver in the ACC. They went out and got Kyron Hudson, who was really good at USC. And then they went out and got Devontae Ross, who we were just talking about, Troy. He had like 900 receiving yards last year. So he has guys to throw to this year. He has the best backfield in the country, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. They've been doing this for 3 straight years. And then, as always, they're going to have a defense. I mean, they're always going to have a defense. And up front, they're going to be as good as anybody in the country.
Like A.J. Harris at corner, and they have another blue-chip edge replacing.
Well, they have LeVar Arrington, who's and he's like, some people are saying he might be one of the best linebackers in the country this year, and he's a freshman.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to be – there's not one position group on their team that is bad. Or there's not even really a position group on their team that's a question mark. It's just the question is, can they win the big game? That's what it comes down to. There's no way that I see that they don't make at least a semifinal college football playoff game. And if they don't, that's pretty concerning with this roster if you don't make a college football playoff semifinal game.
Because you're losing a bunch of these guys after this year. Like
a lot of these guys came back for one more season to win a national title this year.
I mean, this is it. Like, this is – if James Franklin's going to break through and Penn State's going to win a national title, it's this year.
And it's not like if they don't win – like if they make it to a Final Four this year and they lose, like, you're not going to sit here and be like, we're firing James Franklin. But it's like the question, like, I hate to say this though, like, can a coach win the big one?
Yeah.
Because the only active coaches in college football that have won a national championship right now are Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, and Dabo Swinney. Like, Saban is not there anymore. Mack is not there anymore. Harbaugh is not there anymore. Like, there's only 3 active coaches that have won a national championship, so it is kind of hard to say, like, oh, they haven't won it, because, like, there hasn't been that many that have won it. But when you have a roster this talented, like, you want to try. I mean, you have to do it this year, because you may never do it if you can't do it this year.
Yeah, and I think if I'm doing any poll, I'm doing preseason number 1 is Penn State. Like, they have the best roster and best coaching staff.
There's too many questions. Like, I mean, Georgia, like, they're good.
Yeah.
Quarterback's a question. Alabama, they're good. They're the only team. Them, Clemson, LSU are the only 3 teams in the country that are top 10 teams with a quarterback that you are 100% sure what they're getting. Even like Texas, like, they might be the best team in the country, and you expect Arch Manning to be good, but we haven't seen him play for 12 games in a season yet. So, in my opinion, Nuss, Klubnik, and Drew Aller are the only 3 quarterbacks of top 10 teams that have done this before that you know what you're getting.
And Texas, man, I mean, they're replacing a lot in the trenches from a season ago. Arch is a huge unknown. You saw, I mean, Georgia last year. Georgia has huge questions at edge. They have huge questions with their running back depth. I mean, we don't know what Gunner's going to be ultimately over the course of a full season. I look across the SEC. I mean, I'm very bullish on Alabama.
I think they have the second best roster.
Yeah, like, I think it's Alabama and Penn State in my national championship game. And I have Alabama winning it. And it's kind of funny because everyone's putting Texas and Georgia ahead of them. I'm like, Alabama has the roster.
I could see Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know about Georgia. Like, you know they're going to be good in the trenches though, and that's the thing. Like, you can win. Like, if you're better in the trenches than the other team and you have manageable QB play, like, in your team like that, like, you're going to win.
What is the conversation around SEC country if Penn State wins the national title this year? And you get 3 straight years of a non-SEC team winning a national title?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's different for different people. You know, I think a lot of people will say, all right, good. You know, maybe not good that teams have won 3 straight, but I don't know. Does the average Tennessee fan, would the average Tennessee fan rather Georgia win and say, or Alabama win and say, all right, well, the SEC is back to being the best conference? Would you?
I think there are a lot of Tennessee fans, and you can call in 865-966-3435 to jump in here. But I, in my own family, I know of SEC fans, Tennessee fans in my own family who would much rather see an SEC school win a national title than the Big Ten win 3 straight.
Other than Texas?
Even Texas.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Texas, I could see. If you're a Tennessee fan and you want Georgia or Alabama to win the national championship over a Big Ten team, to quote the great Michael Jordan, stop it.
I would
get some help.
I would never root for an Alabama national championship or a Georgia national championship. I can't do that.
Garrett, we're both, Georgia guys. My gut is, I think Tennessee fans, if it was Georgia versus Penn State in the national title, I think more Tennessee fans are pulling for Georgia in that game.
No, I'm pulling for Penn State.
That's where I'm going.
I think most people would root for. I think most people, largely in part, if it's not their team, they don't care about the conference.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, maybe in like
it's interesting.
I mean, when you go back at 20 years, we've won how many over the last? Like, people say that.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't think you're actively rooting for that team in the national championship. I mean, that's just fandom in sports. Like, if you're a Yankees fan, you're not rooting for the Red Sox to win the World Series.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I agree with all of you. I'm curious what the I would love a good poll on this.
Yeah, let's iron out your take, Chase. So you're saying you would rather Penn State win?
Yes, 100%.
But you think most Tennessee fans would rather Georgia win?
Yes, in that scenario, yes.
I mean, if it was like Clemson,
Because they're like, if we lost to Georgia,
like,
let's say close, they're like, awesome, we were close. And if Penn State loses worse to Georgia, it's like, hey, we played the national champions better than.
I think that's stupid though to say that stuff. Oh, we played them like you didn't win.
Yeah,
I think people would have that spin zone. They would say that, but I don't think they would be rooting for that.
Now, if it was a team, if it was Clemson in the national championship versus Penn State, then yeah, I think a lot of people would root for Clemson. Like, that's still a team, like in the South, like South Carolina fans. Maybe South Carolina fans wouldn't be because they don't like Clemson. But I think.
I mean, I'm not rooting for
I'd still root for
Clemson
Penn
in this
State.
situation. Clemson's
I don't like Dabo.
You're recruiting against Dabo, so no, I don't want Clemson.
Yeah.
If you're a Tennessee fan rooting for Clemson in any
I don't have
capacity,
anything against Clemson.
but I mean,
I like Dabo.
you're going against them on the recruiting trail. You want Clemson to be down.
I do
Clemson
think
being down is better for Tennessee.
I do think it's an interesting would be to see the percentages if it's Georgia versus Penn State versus Georgia versus Ohio State versus Georgia versus Clemson, where I think there's more dislike for Ohio State. There's more dislike for Clemson compared to a Penn State. And same thing with Alabama. I think it gets heightened, especially Alabama post Nick Saban. I don't think any Tennessee fan is pulling for Alabama.
Michigan, Alabama is like the worst case scenario for a
Now,
Tennessee fan.
if it's like USC, like a West Coast Big Ten school,
Yeah.
like, at that point, like I don't care because like I still don't even think of them as Big Ten.
Right.
They are, but it's like okay, like or if Notre Dame wins, like cool. Like I mean, I like Marcus Freeman. Like I don't have anything against Notre Dame winning a national title. Like
There
that's
are a lot of SEC fans who still do not respect Notre Dame.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I think Ohio State is like the one school that I would maybe think about rooting for an SEC school over, but that's it. And even then, like I don't know if I could do it.
Interesting. I would love to know the polling on this.
But and here's the thing, like college football is just a better sport when more conferences are dominant. That's my take.
oh yeah, I get tired of seeing the same 5 teams in the championship game. I mean, that's just how it is. Like that's
just how college football
That's just
works.
how it works. I mean, with the blue chip ratio, but like I love seeing, like I would love to see a G5 team win a playoff game. Like that would.
I mean, Boise State gave Penn State problems.
They did.
Yeah.
I mean, they put, but it was worst one is at the line of scrimmage. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Ashton Genty as anybody, and they stuffed him.
Well, I think part of that was
they
not
didn't let him
having the star quarterback, right? If Malachi Nelson is like a star, Boise.
Malachi Nelson is not as good. I mean,
No. What I'm saying is like if if Malachi Nelson had developed into what he could have been as a 5-star, top 5 guy in his class, and he has a career rebirth at Boise, that gives them
left. He would have never.
Right. No. But what I'm saying is like him and Ashton Genty, maybe that game's different. If the best version of Malachi Nelson's
I think if he was that good of a quarterback, they wouldn't have leaned on Genty.
Oh, no, 100%.
And I also don't think that I don't think Maddox Mazden is a bad. I mean, if you look at his stats, he's a good quarterback.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're going to have a G5 upset type of run guy, you need a Heisman type. You need a
that's
game
why a lot of
changer.
people, I think this year are high on Tulane because if
Yeah.
Vyacheslav starts, he was at BYU obviously last year. They have
True.
a lot of pieces, but the thing that separates Boise from Tulane is Boise has at least 2 guys on their offensive line that are going to get drafted this year. So, like, if you have NFL-type players on your offensive line that can compete against those defensive guys, which they did against Penn State last year, you have a chance. Now, Penn State had people coming off their edge that Boise State hadn't seen all season last year. But, I mean, the best G5 teams can beat average, definitely below average Power 4 teams, and they can compete with good Power 4 teams. I mean, you see G5 teams upset Power 4 teams every single year. You're never going to see a G5 team win the national championship. But I don't think a G5 team winning a playoff game or two is like crazy as some people think it is if you have a team that has NFL talent on it.
I think it's crazy from the extent of where you're going to be seated.
Yeah.
If you're saying Boise State's going to get like 6th seed, I would agree.
Yeah.
But just realistically,
it
they're
does
probably going to
depend.
be down near the bottom.
Because if they get a seeding like last year, but to get the seeding where they did last year, you have to win your conference, and they almost beat Oregon in week 2. Like, that was a 3-point game. Like, you have to play the Power 4 teams that you can't get blown out by a Power 4 team early in the season, run the table in your conference, go 11-1, but have a 30-point loss and expect to be a 5 seed in the playoffs. Like at that point, you're going to be a 12 seed, and then as he said, it's going to be harder to win those games at that point because then you're just playing the best teams immediately once you get in.
When we come back, we'll put a bow on today's edition of The Chase. You can call us to join the conversation as we wrap up here at 865-966-3435. We'll talk about Tennessee safety and nickel play going into the 2025 season and where things stand on that front with fall camp entering week 2 for the Tennessee Vols. Stick with us, The Chase, right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Only 3 homestands remaining to see your Knoxville Smokies play this season. And this week will be full of celebrations, starting with free hot dog night on Tuesday. All the hot dogs you can eat all night long. And if you're still hungry, we've got all you can eat Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday with half-off draft beers. Then on Friday, we honor one of the founding members of the Negro Southern League, the Knoxville Giants. On Saturday, we're continuing the fight against breast cancer by painting the park pink. And on Sunday is Cocoa Melon Day. Grab your tickets now at smokiesbaseball.com.
Barley's has live music on weekends, general team trivia on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m., and now live sports trivia courtesy of the Knoxville Trivia Guys every Thursday night upstairs. The game starts at 7 p.m. and is free to play for everyone, so head on down to the Old City and show off your sports knowledge and win gift cards to Barley's. Use those gift cards to buy some delicious food and drinks, and you can take it all in with their wide selection of TVs and indoor projectors. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria.
Hey Knoxville! Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, 0 carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka, sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone or just taking a deep, calming breath to ground yourself. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the volunteer state. Smoked daily by pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
It's a Chase right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville, 105.7 FM, 1340 AM, and always streaming for free on that Fan Run Radio app. Brian Shempert of Record Top Insider in studio with us. We wrap up right here on a Tuesday. Boo Carter is back, and that's a great thing for Tennessee special teams. It's a great thing for Tennessee at the star position where Jalen McMurray can focus being a corner opposite of Ricky Gibson early on this season with Jermon McCoy. Colton Hood I'm all in on, but I just think he's still a spring enrollee. Like I kind of want Colton Hood more at star, because if Tennessee is able to rotate Boo and Colton at star, and you're able to get away with Jermod or with Ricky and McMurray, then I would prefer going that route until Jermod comes back. Because ultimately, like, I think if you're rotating, because I think they're going to need, here's the thing. Everything about the off the field stuff makes it really confusing and as to what Boo Carter's role is going to be in 2025 for Tennessee. Braylon Staley did not practice today, Ryan Shepard, and they are so thin where you're seeing some practice reports of like, did Joakim Dotson already pass Amari Jefferson in the slot man for number 2 as a true freshman summer enrollee? There's just a growing part of me. It's like, if this offense is going to move the ball through the air and we're going to have some playmakers, like Boo Carter's got to play some slot. Like Boo Carter might have his number called because of just where you're at numbers wise offensively. He's obviously extremely important on punt returns. I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, I kind of would rather, and this is the other part. I'm kind of thinking long term with this play.
I've sidetracked this conversation so quickly.
Yeah, but this is the other part of it, Ryan Shepard, is I'm thinking in 2026, which is Colton Hood going to be the starter at star anyway? Because like we can't really anticipate Boo Carter being on this team. So that's the other part. It's like I kind of want to keep Colton at star because I'm going to go ahead and forecast Colton Hood being your star and Boo Carter not being on this team in 26.
Well, I would say, could you not say the same thing about him at corner, opposite Ricky Gibson in 26?
But they have more depth at corner, is my thing. They have way more options there.
I'm not sure I completely agree with that, and I think it's easier. I just think with the cross training, more often you find a guy at nickel that ends up starting for them that didn't play a whole lot of star or didn't work a whole lot of star the year before, is what I would say.
Yeah, and the numbers, there's going to be a lot of guys gone. Like Andre Turntine, he'll have exhausted his eligibility after this year. We'll see on the Boo Carter front, but that would be an upset, I think, to see him back for year 3 for Tennessee. So I'm not ruling it out, but it would, to me, I don't know if you agree, be an upset if Boo Carter is the starting star for Tennessee in 2026. And then you have corner. I mean, if Ricky Gibson has a great year, he put on 20 pounds and he's poised for a breakout year, he's going to get number 1 corner responsibilities with Jermod out early. I mean, we'll see what Jermod's availability is looking like, but we have not seen him in fall camp. So I think another one where it's like, it would be an upset, I feel like, if we see a whole lot of Jermod versus Syracuse in Mercedes-Benz, but we shall see. And then, like, if he breaks out, then you're going to lose Jermod and Ricky, your 2 starting corners. And Jalen McMurray, I believe, will have exhausted his eligibility too, right? Isn't this it for McMurray, or does he have another year?
No, this is
a
a 5th-year guy.
I mean, that's your 3. Like, your top 3 corners might be gone, but you also added a lot this past cycle with Trey Poteet, with Tyler Redmond, with Dylan Lewis, with a lot of guys. And you're going to go in the portal and add another
12
corner.
total stars right there.
But I'm saying they're going to add another corner, like in the portal.
That was nasty business.
Yeah.
But to my point, like, I say that somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, are we going to sit here and act like relying on second-year 3-star freshmen is a overwhelmingly encouraging sign in 2026?
Well, Poteet was a 4-star in some
that's
circles.
True. He did end up as 4-star.
And they're guys, like I wouldn't go straight guys you've recruited at that position to be your starters next year. They're going to go, like, I would be floored if they are not going to target a portal Jermod McCoy type guy in this December window. I don't think there's a way around it with their numbers.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think you would have to take, and it depends on what Ricky Gibson does. It depends on what Boo Carter does. Yeah. I would think if you lose one of those guys, you would need to get at least 2 defensive backs in the portal in December.
Also, if Idris Farouk wins the safety battle this fall and he just locks it down, do you move Caleb Beasley back to corner in 26?
I think a star would be the one that makes more sense.
And then you can move Colton Hood down.
But does Caleb Beasley just start at the other safety spot?
That's also true. There's a lot of moving parts here.
Yeah. Well, this is crazy business by us. We're a month from kickoff and we're projecting what the 2026 defense will look like.
It's not crazy business. This is something that you and I are going to talk about and argue about. I'm happy that you're talking about this because usually you would shut down these conversations, both personally and on the podcast, on the radio show. Like the fact that you are engaging with me on 2026 CB3 and safety 2.
Well, I'm in football mode.
Fantastic stuff.
I'm in football mode. It's when you get me in peak basketball, peak baseball mode, and then try to get me to project football down the road that I can't even get my brain in that in that space.
So I can't.
But I'm in football mode space right now with my brain, so you can get me talking down the road.
So we're not, but I can't get you on to like, hey, where's Tyler Myatt and Ariel Antigua going to slot in here?
No, you can get, because I got that in my brain 98% of the time.
That's true.
I can pull that out of the back burner and talk more intelligently about it.
Look, certain members of the station don't want to talk about where Ariel Antigua might slot in here in 2026, but I'm always happy to have that conversation.
Too.
It's always the ones you least expect, Ryan Shumpert, in that regard. But yeah, no, I look at the safety depth, the nickel part of it. With Boo Carter in the fold, I think they're going to be okay at nickel because I think they're probably going to be even better than what they had last year between the combination of Christian Harrison and Boo. Think about how weird it was going into last year because you thought in the summer it was going to be Jordan Thomas, and then Jordan Thomas goes down. Then you think, okay, it's probably going to be Christian Harrison. They like to play vets. Tim Banks, generally speaking, goes with vets. And then Christian Harrison lasts for what? The NC State game? And then from that game after that...
He started a few more after that, I think.
I don't think so. I thought the NC State game was his last start. I could be wrong. But, I mean, he definitely didn't out-snap count Boo Carter after that game, if I recall correctly, if I had to go through the snaps per game. But Boo Carter eventually took over that role and ran with it, and Christian Harrison now gone. But you look at the safety battle, like Idris Farouk and Caleb Beasley, like you've seen it up close and in person in fall camp here through the first 2 weeks, Ryan Shumpert, two completely different frames, two completely different kind of players. Like Idris Farouk is going to be the Jacoby Thomas heavy hitter type, where he's going to be really good in the box. I think he's going to be a good tackler, that kind of thing. But Caleb Beasley is the more finesse safety, where you can tell he cross-trained at corner and safety, where he has more of an interception, pass defended type of guy. So it's just, they make sense as co-starters at safety in 26, but I do wonder how I'll say this. I don't think there's any way that those two don't rotate a whole heck of a lot next to Turrentine this year.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the thing, you just wonder if because of the Idris Farouk with his background or what he projects as a guy in the box that can make plays, and the way Tennessee tends to go with the safe options at safety, take away big plays, don't give up big plays in the pass game. Like that seems to lend more to Caleb Beasley starting to me. But I'm with you. I think both will play a good bit either way, and they'll rotate. And I think I'll be curious, do we ever see them on the field together? I doubt it happens much, but I'll be curious to see if we see that at all.
Yeah, I would be surprised too, but it's also like they don't really have. I mean, Andre Turrentine is just we're penciling in because he's had 16 straight starts, so he's just been extremely reliable and been extremely healthy. That's part of it. Is Andre Turrentine stays in the field. That guy does not get banged up. Knock on wood here, but he has been extremely reliable for Tim Banks and become one of the bigger leaders for Tennessee on that side of the ball. I do kind of wonder. I mean, Colton Hood just feels like he's going to be a gamer. Like Colton Hood just feels like he's going to force his way into the field, kind of like Jermod a year ago, where I think he is going to be someone who gets a whole heck of a lot of snaps sooner rather than later for Tennessee, and I think they're going to need him. And Colton Hood is just I'm penciling him in as a starter somewhere in 26, but I don't know if he has a path to locking down a starter spot somewhere on this team in 26. But they don't need him to necessarily, and if he balls out in 26, then that could be it, and off to the NFL for him. But that's way down the line. But I do think that it's super interesting to think about. Does Marcus Gorey make a move from Bradley Central over the next couple weeks? Does Dylan Lewis make a move? Does Tyler Redmond make a move? Like there is opportunity for these young guys over the next couple weeks here in fall camp, and especially this first scrimmage on Saturday, is that if they step up, I mean, there's opportunity. Like Caleb Beasley and Idris Farouk are obviously in a big time battle at the safety spot, but if you're a corner, one of these young guys, whether it's Poteet, like I said, Redmond, Lewis, whoever, like Jermod's not around, and this is an opportunity where McMurray's cross training, and a lot of these guys are cross training. If you want to become a factor, like Coach Martinez will play some young guys at corner. He's not fearful to go that way. Tim Banks, generally speaking, more veteran heavy, but Boo is kind of an exception to the rule because Boo is that talented of a football player.
And Jordan Thomas got hurt.
Yeah. But again, Boo settled in. Boo was fine. Like there was not a lot of
5 starts for each for Boo and Christian Harrison last year, by the way. And I guess some of that you can't. I guess they just started 4-3 in a couple of those games.
Yeah.
So we don't. PFF doesn't tell us at least which star had the first snap of those games.
Yeah. Well, don't forget, folks, the drive with Russell Smith at Matlock Tires today from 3 to 6. Stop by and get some tickets to Fan Run Night for the Knoxville Smokies tomorrow if you can, but go ahead and stop on by if you're in the area in Farragut and Kingston Pike, and go see the folks over there at the Drive. That'll do it right here for the Chase, right here on a Tuesday. Thank you to Rocky Top Insiders Ryan Schemper. Thank you to Garrett Armbrust. Thank you to Jay King. Driver Russell Smith and the Bears up next. Chase is back tomorrow at 1 p.m. with Ryan Sylvia. Have a wonderful afternoon, East Tennessee.